Good afternoon again. I'd like to thank you all for joining our pharmacovigilance webinar. Today, consultants Adam Kamler and Matt Barron are going to walk us through a presentation and live demonstration of our tool, and they'll be able to field any questions you have during the presentation as well as at the end. So please feel free to use the GoToMeeting interface to ask any questions at any time during the presentation. So with that, I will turn it over to Adam to get us started.
Thank you, Billy. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are doing well, and welcome to How to Avoid CAPAs and Enhance Health Authority Inspection Readiness. Now, first, before we get into the content, I'd like to describe, Pharmica Consulting, what we do, and a little background on myself. Pharmica Consulting was founded around 11 years ago by Matt Kiernan and Eric Lake. Pharmica essentially provides pain relief to the pharma industry. Now, we do that by helping pharma companies achieve operational excellence throughout the organization. Now, Pharmica employees tend to be smart, down-to-earth people that clients want to work with. Now, we work with clients to adapt to their organization and to accommodate overwhelming changes attributed to market pressure, evolving regulations, developments in technology, and even internal growth. Essentially, we'll get things done for your organization. And now a little bit about myself. I am Adam Kamler. I'm a PV consultant for Pharmica, and I've been working in the pharmaceutical industry for several years now. I've been working with companies and aiding them in building the infrastructure to achieve operational excellence. And now we'll be heading into more of the content of the slides now. Safety databases are an essential tool for PV organizations. Now these safety databases tend to be complex tools, and it's really challenging to articulate how exactly structure and interface align with a PV operational process and manage the input of data. Now, most databases are actually not up to par with regulatory standards when it comes to quality and compliance oversight. This is due to these complexities and system limitations. Now, challenges in demonstrating proper oversight of quality and compliance create a risk for an organization to be susceptible to findings of all levels. Now, we did some research on FDA news regarding statistics of CAPAs, and in 2014, there were almost 3,500 CAPAs issued. Now, 10% of these 3,500 CAPAs issued were attributed to inadequate procedure citations. Now, if we factor in, say, an average of cost of $150,000 per CAPA, it's easy to see that challenges in proper oversight are causing a significant financial investment to pharma companies. And as we continue researching CAPA statistics in 2015, we see that this trend is increasing, and inadequate procedure citations continue to be the #1 category for a 483 to be issued in 2015. So PV organizations have habitually outsourced key systems and/or activities. On the surface, this has minimal visible risks and challenges, and this strategy appears financially and operationally appealing. However, this is only the tip of the iceberg. CROs tend to exacerbate the risk for companies to understand when there is an issue with the process execution. And this is due to the high staff turnover, which then causes a significant reduction in the visibility of activities. So these issues cause CROs to lose focus on the main question at hand. And this main question at hand is, what is the true root cause of the quality and compliance issue? So lack of understanding of this true root cause of the quality and compliance issue tends to make it difficult for a company to implement an effective CAPA and address the underlying issue, which then causes, ineffective CAPAs increase the risk for additional findings, and then it causes a negative perception of safety operations management from a regulatory authority. Here we have an overview of the activities in a PV organization. Now, this categorizes areas that tend to be susceptible to issues in quality and compliance when they've been outsourced. Now, it is very clear to see that outsourcing of any reporting and submission activities carries a tremendous risk. So Pharmica Consulting has created a quality and compliance oversight tool for a PV organization. And this next slide overlays the areas in which the PV organization feel that it is able to impact and ensure the proper quality and compliance oversight that is required. Here on the next slide we have the overall structure of the tool and specific functional areas that the tool supports. Now, the tool has 7 modules which are designed around the 7 corresponding PV processes. There are approximately 160 data fields outside of the safety database in the tool across all 7 modules. The tool supports several PV functional areas in quality and compliance in aggregate reports, case processing, risk management plans, as well as safety data management. Now, today we will review the single case processing compliance module, which encompasses one of the 7 processes and 7 data fields outside of the safety database. Here on this slide we have examples of quality and compliance visualizations the tool has to offer. The one on the left displays a case processing quality analysis, and the one on the right is an aggregate report submission compliance. Here we would like to highlight 2 specific areas which we feel differentiate our tool. The first being that even though these are 2 completely separate reports that provide analysis for 2 different topics across 2 PV functions, the interface and structure of the tool are similar. They offer quicker orientation and adoption of the tool across the different modules, and this leads to enhanced usability within the organization. The second of these being the dynamic reports that were designed with the mindset to help organizations perform many different types of analysis. And these analyses help provide answers to many different questions and issues in quality or compliance for their respective function. And this is all done by using the same report. This is beneficial because companies typically develop oversight reports to target a very specific question or issue. Now, additional questions or issues require additional reports to be created at an additional cost. However, for this case and our tool, this is not the case. Here is a case study to demonstrate the benefits a company has realized using our tool. Now, keep in mind this is not actual data. However, it is data to simulate the occurrence. After analyzing the data in the tool, the client realized and found a significant number of late cases that were the result of a supplier delay. And after further analyzation, this was caused by safety data information that was provided to the client by a business partner outside of the agreed upon timelines defined in the PV agreement with that partner. So then the client needed to update the PV agreement with said business partner to ensure adequate safety information exchange timelines. Now, after this was done, the client had realized a 20% increase in compliance within 2 months after implementing the updated PV agreement. So furthermore, the client was able to use the tool to replicate their analysis and confirm that the updated agreement was in fact the answer to the problem and resolved the issue. We are also pleased to report that during a recent health authority inspection, which targeted a number of areas, including ICSR quality and compliance oversight, the company had received no observations or findings upon review of the overall process the tool supports or the visualization that the tool generates. Now, here is my information if you would like to contact me. I'm going to send it off to Billy and ask and see if we have any questions so far before I actually go into my demo of the tool itself.
Adam, no questions yet. You're free to move into the demo.
Thank you very much, Billy. Okay, so here is a high-level view of the tool. I will scroll down so that we can see all of it at once at first, and then I will dive deeper into each of the functions and what it has to offer. Now, at a high-level navigation, we have our navigation bar up here in blue. As you can see, I go over each link, and I'm able to have a drop-down where I can address each of the next pieces of navigation. In the Data Management Tools link, we have the data input layers of the source, which is the source data. On the executive leadership, we have the executive level reports for quality and compliance. These are high-level at-a-glance reports, which present all the overall summaries combined. And the last link up at the top for navigation, we have our metrics assessment report. Now, this breaks down the 7 reports in the reporting layer, and we will be currently viewing and going over today the ICSR submission compliance analysis. Okay, so now as we dive deeper into the tool, we have several buckets here. Right now we're looking at 2 graphs in the late category analysis regarding high-level reason and category reason for on-time and late cases. As you can see, when I move over each of the different bars, we can see the count of number of submissions in each factor here as I move over them. We can also click into the bar and do a deeper dive to see what is the actual data behind the high-level reason of processing delay. We see that there are 150 records, and now I can display those records as the full data itself. Here we have an overall summary of the number of submissions, also the number of late cases we have pointed out. And here, highlighted in red, is our percentage of on-time cases. We have set it to appear red if it dips below 98%. However, it can be set to whichever limit you desire. Down here below, we have a country analysis which incorporates pie graphs regarding late and on-time data for each country. Now, the size of the graphs increase and decrease due to the amount of submissions provided. The larger the graph appears, the more submissions are available. The smaller, the less that are available. Over here to our right, we have our filters, which we can drill down even further into the data itself. Say if you want to choose one or more months of the data, we can click and automatically change the data itself. Now I can leave it at just one filter, but I can also add multiple filters as well to drill down even further. So this is metric month with product label number 1. We can also take off these filters, and I'm just going to go over some of the filters that we have available. We have metric month, we have primary suspect product, we have the specific case type, we have the report type, which we can drill down further. We have a responsible party. So like in our example, we were able to highlight a specific responsible party for late case submissions. We also are able to pinpoint a high-level reason here, as well as a subcategory reason, and even status of the current case. Over here all the way to our right, I can point out that this is the input layer of the data itself. I'll dive into that now, and we can edit the data coming into the tool itself through this layer here. Say I wanted to choose this specific case. I can go in and edit. And here we view the case number itself, the data set, the case type, the receipt date, the follow-up date, the company receipt date, the report type itself, the specific product, the due date, the date it's submitted, the metric month and year, the aging time to submission, case status, the aging receipt date, the destination country. We have agency, we have high-level reason, subcategory reason, responsible party name, where we can insert the specific responsible party. We can even input text as to the root cause for each late submission and any corrective actions or preventative actions that we have for a late submission. Now, and we also provide in a space to have any attachments that would be necessary for that particular case of data. Now, with that said, I'm going to head back to my presentation. And Billy, do we have any questions regarding the tool itself?
Yes, we do. Thank you. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So the first question we received is, can I use this solution to help with outsourcing and partnerships? Has it been used for this?
That's a fantastic question. Thank you for your submission. The answer to that would be yes. We have used this solution in both outsourcing and partnerships. In the specific scenario demonstrated in the slide presentation, we were able to highlight a responsible party as the business partner for our client in our data captured and track the oversight and in quality and compliance. So this ended up helping them demonstrate compliance and oversight of their business partner. Billy, is there a next question?
Yes, and quickly, I just want to comment. It looked like someone had their hand raised using the interface. That may have been an accident, that may have not, but please use the interface, the questions part of the interface to submit any questions. The next question we have received is, where is your data coming from?
That's a great question. Thank you for your submission. The data comes from the primary data source, which comes through the input layers. In some instances, it comes from the safety database information itself. Now, in the past, we've used both, SharePoint as well as Excel or any type of data reporting. I'm going to look to my partner, Matt Barron, if you have anything to add to this question.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. And I'm just to double check. So basically, to clarify too, this ultimately can be a combination. It really depends on what the client is currently using, or if they're looking for something, we can provide that input layer for them. But also, in addition, as we talked about, there's information that's coming from the safety database, and in some instances, in particular the ICSR analysis, we actually, there is an additional step to analyze that information and provide additional data such as the high level and subcategory reason. And ultimately, this is where our input layer can accommodate the upload of that safety database information, the merging of that data with the additional analysis, and then ultimately that combined data set will then feed the reports. So in the instances of the ICSR analysis, that's just a little more clarification on where that data is coming from and how it is pulled from the input layer per the process.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry, Adam. Did you want me to keep going, or did you have anything to add?
I was just asking. I was asking if there were any other questions. I'm sorry.
No problem. That's fine. A question was, another question we received was, how does this interface with the safety database? And I feel as if Matt just kind of answered that. Both of you did with your explanation. The next question we received is, can you set KPIs?
I'm going to send it to my partner, Matt Barron, to see if.
Yeah, no, thank you, Adam. So yes, the KPI capability, if I understand correctly, really is feasible, and really what this the demonstration of the threshold analysis. So in the overall summary, where we set the system to go to red if it drops below a certain threshold, and this is really defined, as Adam had mentioned, based on your internal company standards. Those are a lot of, some of the, in our experience, some of the KPIs that we've implemented for the client and that come in with the tool out of the box. But then again, if there are any other additional KPIs that we may not necessarily have built in the functionality, we do have the flexibility to work with you to cultivate that functionality in accordingly. But it really would just be based on a requirements discussion to get there.
Great. Next question we have is, does the system include the implementation and evaluation portion of CAPAs?
And I apologize, Billy, could you just repeat, and broke up a little bit there, could you repeat that question one more time?
Sure. Does the system include the implementation and evaluation portion of CAPAs?
I see. Thank you, Billy. So the out-of-the-box reports do not include that deep dive analysis into that CAPA evaluation. But that is some reporting capability that we can build in based on the way we've designed the data in the input layer. The reason why we initially didn't do that out of the gate is that some companies utilize a hybrid approach with their quality systems for CAPAs, in addition to our tool, or sometimes only the quality system. So that is built as a customized report, but is something feasible that we will work with you to build in if that meets the requirements you're looking for.
All right, great. Next question we have is the solution validated?
That's a great question. Thank you. Out of the box, the solution is essentially not validated. However, it can be validated and has been validated in the past. Now, every company has their own specific validation practices and policies, and we can adapt to those validation practices. So essentially, validation is done on an ad hoc basis.
All right, great. Next up we have is how difficult or how long does it take to implement this solution?
That's a great question. Thank you very much. We typically see implementation in 4 to 6 weeks out of the box. Now, it depends on the client and their requirements, so it really depends on the level of customization. However, the more customization, the longer it's going to take. However, we typically see 4 to 6 weeks.
All right, great. And it looks like at this point, this next question I'm going to ask is the final question we've received. So if anybody else has any questions that they would like answered, please use the interface and submit them. Otherwise, we're going to wrap up after this next question. Do I have the flexibility to customize the fields in the data input layer?
Thank you for that question. That's a great question. So the answer to that would be essentially yes. Out of the box, the fields are not set in stone. So we like to work one-on-one with the client and provide them with the best solution we possibly can to suit their business needs, because everybody works in different ways. They have different jargon they like to use from company to company. Matt, do you have anything you'd like to add regarding this question?
Thanks, Adam. Well, I think the only minor thing I would add to that is that it really is, to Adam's point around jargon. I mean, I think it depends on we've put forward in the out of the box solution, a pretty standard set of workflow steps, especially in the ICSR model that align with the overall process. But again, the feasibility to add to those steps in the drop downs based on the terminology that the client uses internally, or even additional process steps that they would like factored in per their analysis, their analytical requirements, we absolutely can accommodate that in the tool.
Okay, great. Next up, we got a few more. We have, if out of the box does not meet the business need, then what is the timeline to develop a new report or view?
Well, actually, I'll take this one, Adam. Thank you, Billy. So, I mean, it is a really good question, and it really will depend, again, on the level of, I guess, development requirement for that additional report. It really is, it can be very straightforward if the data that we currently are capturing in the data input layer will be able to align with that, and then meeting those requirements on how you want to visualize it it can be pretty simple. It also can require a little bit more complexity. So it doesn't take too much time, but it really does require it's based on the requirements of the client and what they want to see in that visualization that will drive the timeline there.
Okay, great. At this point, that seems to be all of the questions we've received. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining today. We're going to be posting this webinar on the website, and I will send out an email notifying everyone when it's up. So if you enjoyed the content and you know anyone else in your workplace or network that might benefit from seeing it, please share it. If anyone is interested in learning more about the pharmacovigilance work or any of the other areas we work in, please reach out to myself or Adam or Matt. Thank you all again for joining us, and thanks to those of you who are participating with the questions, and have a great rest of your day.